Hey everyone, AMR back in with another chess video. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be doing a Puzzle Rush survival mode here. So every single day that you have the free version of chess, that you can go ahead and use these survival rounds, you basically get 3 strikes and then you're done. Highest I've ever gotten, I think, was a score of 28. It is pretty fun. It teaches you a lot about finding out patterns, about what is best moves, and honestly it has translated to a lot more easy wins for me. I think in the last week or so I've jumped up maybe 200 elo in chess just by doing these every single day. If you do have the premium version, then you do get to do these as much as you want unlimited, but since we're only on the free version, I only have 1 per day. I typically start off my day by doing them. I make it like kind of like this rule that I can't actually start playing normal games of chess until I've actually completed the Puzzle Rush for the day. But without stalling any longer, let's go ahead and jump into it here. So the first couple here are going to be pretty easy. So you just have like that nice little push there. Typically, you don't want to just go for the easy move of just a checkmate. However, it does start you off on pretty low elo, so you can just go for the easy chess, or the easy checkmate there. I think that this, yep. So you're sacrificing the queen here, and now you get the checkmate. Next up here, it's going to be a checkmate because you're forcing the hand. And whenever you see this pattern right here with a king behind it, there really is no way for the king to escape. And as long as you don't have anything that can block it diagonally or straight on, then you typically are able to just go ahead and pin the king pretty back far. So this is another checkmate pattern where all I have to do is take this rook here and place it there. This creates this filing where the king can't move at all. He has to rely on his auxiliary pieces to go ahead and save him. So in this case, we put it here, and then you have the checkmate. Okay, so next up here, we have a king. You have your queen that's covering close. You have your queen that's covering all of this area. You have a bishop that's covering this. Another bishop here. Another bishop there. Not always pretty straightforward as to what you're supposed to do in these situations sometimes. And if you look at the elo off to the right here, it's just 329. So it shouldn't be too challenging. Honestly, you have to, like, whenever you're playing with these really low elos, just go for the easy move, honestly. And the easy move is going to be here as a nice little checkmate. So again, we have a stacking of our rooks here. There's nothing to be able to stop it diagonally or vertically or horizontally. So by doing this, you are pinning the knight in or the king in, and it is an easy checkmate there. So next up, you have your bishop that is protecting this. So if I were to go here with my queen, the only play that well, it doesn't even have a play anymore because everything else is being blocked in. So now that we have that, we can go ahead and just put him here. He's backed up far enough to where he can't actually do anything. I keep referring to the king as he, so bear with me if I'm trying to make it sound like it's an actual person, but it's not. The king is actually buried pretty deep into its own quarters again. Like I said, that mating pattern, whenever you see those 3 pawns and then no way for the king to escape, nothing blocking for, diagonally, so putting your queen there is just going to be an easy checkmate there. Okay, so it's white to move here. So I think what I want to do is I want to push this here, put him in check. He can't take because my pawn is defending. So he'll be forced back this way or this way. It doesn't really matter because I'm just going to put my rook here in the end, and then he will be pinned because he can't escape due to the pawn trapping. And there you go. So anytime you have your stacked pieces like this, you don't have to really feel bad about sacrificing your queen. I know the move here because I've done these puzzles quite a bit. Your first move is to take the pawn. He'll push that way. You'll sacrifice the queen, and then you'll pin him with the rook. Very similar approach here. It's kind of like beating a dead horse for a couple of rounds, but they really want to beat this point home because it happens all the time in real games of chess. Okay, so next up here, we have a lot of different options that we can go for. We can either put the king in check, which doesn't feel like a terrible option per se. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like a horrible option. But is there a better one is the question. So now we're getting up to about 700 elo. And you'll definitely start to see where I start to drop off in like knowing things right away. Because what do I do here? I take the pawn, and then what? The king is forced to move. So the king can't move here. The king has to go there. But what does that do for me? Once the king goes there, oh, he can't go there. It'll just be checkmate. Because I have, well, no, it won't, because if I move the bishop here, then, I mean, what does that really do? Because he could just take. So now you start to see the dilemmas that you run into. Okay, so I'm giving it some thought here. And it seems like I have two options really that make the most sense. So I can either take this pawn, move the queen over, but that doesn't really do me anything. I could take the knight and I could put him here, which puts the king in check, opening up this, I don't know what these are called. I don't know. It's not really a file because files are like this. But it opens up this area so the king has to move that direction. Is this just checkmate? Am I just stupid? I think I'm just stupid. See, that's why these puzzles are great. So you have white to move. You have queen threatening checkmate right here. So that means whenever you see this type of a position where the queen or the opposing team can just go ahead and checkmate you in one move, it's a pretty clear indication that you need to put the queen or the king in check in order to win the game. Otherwise, you will be checkmated. So obviously, it is just going to be a sacrificial queen exchange again. So important rule of thumb here is that you have the pawn protecting both diagonals. So really all you have to do is find a way to get yourself into this area on the king. Sounds pretty easy, but in the grand scheme of things, it can get pretty challenging. So what is threatening on their pieces? So this pawn is threatening that take. So, I mean, I could take with this piece, but if I do that, then I'm leaving my queen to dry. So I don't want to do that. It's a bad idea. So if I take, he takes, he takes, he takes. So that doesn't work either. This could be one of those things where it's trying to just tell you like, yeah, go for it. You take, I'll push here. So if you take, I'll take. But that leaves him in a position where he can just take my queen still. So I don't like that. What do I want to do here? I think the better play. Ooh, this is tough, man. So we either, well, I mean, stacking our rooks wouldn't be the worst idea, but I don't really see like a clear winning position for us. There's no way for us to put the king in check. So I don't think that that's going to be our play. Is there anything that we can do to make it so that the queen will be just taken on their side? I don't see that either. So I'm thinking that I just should put this here to protect. And it's not. So that's one of the bad things about this is like it doesn't really tell you what the correct move was, which I really wish it would, because that would be so much more beneficial to this. But we got our first strike here. Okay, so next up. We have black to move. What is threatening for white? White has this and this. They also have this. Can I just like remove that? The white has this and this. They are threatening this piece here. So I'm thinking that I just take the pawn, take the rook, and then it's just a winning position for me. What? Okay, that was a little foreign to me. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really understand how that was poorly executed. Okay, so we can put the queen, or we can put the king in check by dropping him back. But then what does that do for us? I guess I could put him in check. Why does it do that? I guess I could put him in check right there because he can't take because the rook. The queen's not helpful in this situation. So then I could just move the rook over here and then it's checkmate. Perfect. All right, next to move here. Got black. It kind of feels like I could just put this here. And then when the queen comes to protect, I could just take with my queen. Oh, I'm in check. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense, actually. So what can I do? The only play is to move that there, or to move a different piece into the way of that. So I think the move here is to move my king back. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. So now we're in a bit of a pickle. Because what do? We can't come back here like this. We'll just straight up lose the rook. I can't go back here. So let's look at the options here. You have this position here, which I think is safe. And if you move here, you're just going to be in check again. So you don't want that. You want to avoid being putting in check. I think we go there. Okay. And that actually is totally fine. So now I think that I want to take with my queen. Is that right? I think so. I think taking with the queen makes sense here. I think I'm going to take with my queen. What in the fuck, bro? I don't agree. But let's go ahead and play a 10-minute game here. Keeping the video kind of short today, but the Puzzle Rush stuff is really, really fun. I just prefer to get a couple games in. You know, I'm already up to 864. At the start of my climb, I think I was right around 660. So definitely gotten a lot better at the game so far. One of the downsides of doing these types of recordings is that I play on my phone on the chess.com app. and the screen size is just so much different and smaller that I feel like I have much more sense of the board on my mobile, and then switching back over to the desktop version is pretty challenging. So just a bigger board, a lot more to look out for, and you end up getting burned a little bit more. Okay, so it's our turn. So you got knights before bishops. He's developing that piece so he can attack there. I'm going to reinforce my knight, so if he wants to take with the bishop, that's totally fine. What is he going to do now? So I haven't done a really good job of developing my pawns just quite yet, so I'm thinking my next move is probably going to have to be something involving the knight. Again, maybe putting the knight here. If I put it there, it just gets taken by his knight. We trade. I mean, it's fine, but at the same time, it's like really kind of not, because I can't really do anything with this piece. It's kind of hanging in the balance. Because what is he gonna do? He's gonna move this. I'll take with my bishop, and then he'll push me forward with his pawn. It just doesn't make any sense long term. Guy's taking quite a bit to move on this one, so I have to see what he's gonna do. If I were him, what I'd probably end up doing would be pushing this way or pushing this way. One of the two ways, I think that developing his knights a little bit further, or even just getting his pawn, that was really weird. Okay, I like was pulling his pawn forward and he did it at the exact same time. Kind of interesting. So he's got a lot of reinforcement here on this pawn. So if I take, he's going to take with his knight, I'll take with my knight, he'll take with his queen, and then he's just got his queen staring at me. So I need to be pretty careful on what I decide to do next here. So do I choose to do anything about it, or do I just kind of let it happen? I think I'm okay with letting him take this. And then I could take here. He's facing me this way, but he's not going to do anything. Like, he's not going to take with that. I'll take here. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get him anything by doing what he just did. So I'm not overly concerned about the idea of it. So question becomes, let's go ahead and put his knight into a little bit of a pressure cooker here. So if he takes, which he can, okay, that was an interesting move. So I think the play here now would be to push this to here. I have a lot of development going on right now, and I like the way that our board is kind of being positioned. He pushed his pawn past, which I don't necessarily agree with because they're kind of just stuck now until the end game. Puts me in check. So now I can just go here with this. It frees up his knight, but I'll just straight up take if he doesn't. I feel like, oh, so he doesn't actually do anything there. Interesting. I would have figured that he would have at least done something. So I think I'm going to develop my pawns. If he takes, I can take now. Oh, yeah, I can take now. Because if he wants to take with that pawn, I'll just take his queen. I actually have a lot of support on this pawn right here, where I can do a bunch of different things. One thing that he's got to be very, very mindful of is that I do have a threatened fork here on the king and rook. So he does need to be mindful of that. Okay, so I take, he takes. I take, he takes, I take. Then he can take. So it's bad. What to do? What to do? Definitely don't want to do that. So I think I'm just going to fall back. Hopefully he thinks that he has a free thing here, because he doesn't. I actually have a bishop in line. If he moves there, what do? I think I can just take. So one of his better moves would be to put this here. That would cause me a little bit of angst, because I'd have to figure out what I'm going to do to prevent that from happening. Probably just push this there. Ooh, probably not a good idea, honestly. Got a lot of pressure up the middle. I do have my queen staring at his knight, but he has his bishop in the balance over here. So got to be careful with that as well. Ideally, he'd put this here. I would just straight up take. If he takes this, then I'll just go boom right here. And then he's got a little bit of a situation on his hands where he's got to figure out what he wants to do with my queen being so deep into the back. Okay. I don't hate that, honestly, on his part. I think that was actually kind of a smart move. So now I'm going to force his knight to move. Or just get taken. I don't really give a shit. Yep, I kind of figured he'd fall back, which is probably best for him in that situation. So I want to be able to protect both of these options right here. Yep, kind of saw that one coming. We talked about it a little bit earlier, so definitely not overly concerned with the idea of it. Okay, is there anything I can do? Yeah, so I'm just going to push my pawn there, so that way it can act as a, what do you want to call that? As a defense mechanism. I mean, we actually have time advantage on him too, which is kind of nice. So if he wants to take here, I take, and I'm threatening his knight immediately. So he doesn't have to take here. He doesn't really have to do anything with that piece. If I were him, potentially, probably just put his bishop right there, and then he's staring this down. But I mean, I don't really, I care, because if I take, then he can take with his knight, and then it all kind of goes to shit. And there you go. Kind of what I figured. I'm probably not going to end up castling here, so I'm not too upset at the idea of putting my rook here, letting him take, I take, and then I'm staring down this. I think that that's actually pretty advantageous for us. It is our weak bishop at this point, so not too shabby. Okay, so he goes there, take. He's going to go here, or he should anyway. I don't even know what's taking him so long to make that move. It's quite obvious. Okay, so he ends up falling back. Can't really say I agree with the decision. It seems counterintuitive to like what he's done thus far. Adding some more pressure here. If he wants to take any of these, be my guest. I got a pawn backing them both up, along with a knight as well, and a queen. I'm definitely weaker on this side of the board, but that's totally fine. I didn't actually castle. I've been seeing a lot of, I don't know what you want to call it, a lot of inefficiencies with castling, at least castling early on. So I want to go ahead and move this piece here and then threaten. I want to threaten taking this, because do I really care if he takes this pawn? Do I honestly give a shit? No, I don't. What he cares about is this knight, and now he's realizing like, uh-oh, this knight's kind of cooked. So if it goes here, I'm probably not going to end up taking. It's a good spot for him, and I live to fight another day with this pawn. Otherwise, I mean, he could put me in check right here, which I failed to see. So that kind of sucks. But if he does that, I think that we'll just end up trading queens. Yeah, what do I do in that situation? Okay. So now we have, what way can we get our knight involved? If I go there, can I do? I think I want to put this here. Now I'm reinforcing this pawn. I'm threatening to go here with this piece. I have that pawn protected. I have this pawn protected. I have this area protected. This area is protected, and this area is not protected for the time being, but I could just move my bishop there. I have like significant time advantage on him right now, which is pivotal in the end game. So definitely something you want to keep an eye on. Okay, so I'm gonna go here. Let him take. Let him go there. Can't go here. Can't go. I mean, he could go there, which would kind of suck. But I could just go there again, and we do this dance again. Or I mean, I could just go here. Biggest part is, man, I have time advantage, so I can get a little risque, if you will. Okay, so now I have to. Did he really? Oh, no, we're good. Ooh, that was a little closer than I wanted it to be. Not gonna lie. I thought for a minute that he got me, that I was like, wherever I was gonna put this piece, that I was just gonna end up getting taken, and I definitely didn't want that. So got a little bit lucky there. We do have some pretty nice diagonals to work with here. Can't go here. Can he just take this piece? He could. So got to be mindful. I don't want to. I think at this point I could put this here. I like this idea better. If he wants to trade, let's trade. I can just put my pawn, or I can take with my rook. Doesn't really matter. I think I'll probably end up taking with the pawn so that way I can get out of like this stacked pawn structure. It's fine. Still have plenty of protection. He's starting to feel a little bit cornered, though. You can tell by his movement. It is starting to get a little erratic. Do I want to take with that piece or the other piece? That's the question. Doesn't think it really matters at this point. I still have castling rights, so I can just go ahead and take with my rook. Pretty even game. I mean, it's actually a very even game at this point, so I'm going to push past and try and put some pressure on this knight. Okay, go ahead and push this here so that way he can't go. Leaving this pawn where it will be. Okay, so now how do we want to do this? I feel like I need to put this here. If he goes there, I'll take. Okay. I'll go there. So if he goes there, I'll take. He goes here, I'll take. Stays, I'll take. Probably a good idea to get the hell out of there. So next, I think I'm gonna go here. Go there. I'm making my rounds. He's just like not even paying attention to what I'm doing, I don't think. Now I can get his rook. I just like completely dismantled this man. Almost got me. So now it's just like that standard mating pattern that I was talking about earlier. Put this there. Okay, so that was honestly a pretty big blunder on his part. Or was it? I don't know. I'm just gonna. What do I want to do here? He pre-moved that? Are you joking? Checkmate. Ready? 3, 2, 1. All right, so let's go ahead and jump over here into the analysis. I haven't done one of those yet today, so I still have that for freebies. So you have like this little meter here on the left-hand side, tells you who has the advantage. So we are acting as the white piece here. Everything seems to be pretty standard at this point. No one has like a clear-cut advantage per se. It doesn't like that move, ironically. Like, what is best? I'm guessing probably that. Yeah, it does like that a little bit better than just like the single push, which is fine. Still doing fairly well. It says that I have the advantage for now, but it needs to be careful. I go out, and it seems like he has the advantage. He's pressuring. He takes. I back up. He's still got quite a bit of advantage here. Okay, so now we're starting to get into our territory. That was a big blunder on their part. What did he want? What did the game want me to do there? What was best? Okay. So looking over here at the post-game analysis, I actually had 2 great moves, which I typically don't have any. So pretty great to see more than one, honestly. Looking over here at the analysis portion, book move, book move, book move, book move, book move, book move. Okay, so I actually had a good piece. It wants me to push there to protect the knight. Interesting. I understand. Okay, so that makes sense. I back up. It says that's an inaccuracy. It says mine's an inaccuracy as well. It wants me to go there. Puts me in check. So it rather we'd have my pawn go there. Oh yeah, I mean that makes sense because you had the knight protecting this square as well. I didn't really see that, honestly. So we push, we take. It wanted us to take with the knight. Okay, so it says that that is a big blunder. Interesting. Okay, it says that's an inaccuracy. That gets pushed forward. It says that this also was a blunder. That's tough. Okay, so it says that's an accuracy. I take. It wants it to take with the rook. I don't understand totally. Pushes back. I push forward. Queen gets pushed up as an inaccuracy. That gets pushed back. Says that that's a good move. Queen gets moved over. Says that this is actually a better move. Okay, I could see that. Gets pushed back. Says that this is actually best. That's best. This is best. That's best. That's best. That's best. That's a great move according to Stockfish. So that is unreal that I was able to figure out that move. He takes, I take, I castle, which was good. I take, I push forward, which is like, it's good, but whatever. I push forward, which is great. I push over. Ooh. Pushing over was a mistake. But why? You know? Like, why? Okay, it says that's a mistake. That's great. This is good. This is best. He's just not paying attention at this point. This is best. That's a blunder. And like, look at this. It went from him having a 0.3 advantage to me having a 10.2. Mine was a great move. I put him in check, took him, put him in check again, put him in check again, grabbed it, moved over, protected the pawn. And all this is just endgame. Bam. Anyways, that's going to do it for today's video. As always, if you like today's content, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. That was another time. See you.